discussing the issue of wealth gaps. The racial wealth gap is the unequal distribution of assets among residents of the United States. The United States has a huge and growing racial wealth gap. Wealth includes the values of homes, cars, personal valuables, businesses, savings, and investments. A new study by Prosperity Now has found that white households in the middle income quintile own nearly 8 times as much wealth as middle income Latino earners. Last year, the same research claimed that if current trends continue, it will take 228 years for the average Black family to reach the same level of wealth white families have today. Black and Latino families at the middle have seen their wealth slip, while white families in the middle saw their wealth rise. That same study said that if this continues, Black middle-class families will own zero wealth in the next 20 years.
From the end of World War II into the 1970s were the years of substantial economic growth and broadly shared prosperity. In the 1970s, economic growth slowed and the income gap widened. The best survey data showed that the share of wealth held by the top 1% rose from just under 30% in 1989 to nearly 49% in 2016, while the share held by the bottom 90% fell from just under 33% to less than 23% in the same time period.
This combines income tax returns with flow of funds data to estimate the distribution of household wealth in the United States since 1913. Wealth is estimated by capitalizing the income reported by individual taxpayers.
Report challenges myths that say behavioral changes are the key to closing the wealth gap. The researchers suggest that confronting the causes of racial inequality should be the focus going forward, not that African Americans are poor because of cultural or behavioral deficiencies like hard work, effort, or ambition. The data reveals that even when Blacks and white are equal on footing when it comes to educational attainment, salary history, or home ownership, Black families still lag significantly behind.
Right. Economic inequality increases poverty in neighborhoods throughout the United States. Poverty leads to an increase in crime and political inequality. Poverty decreases the ability to receive health care and the level of education in the area. The result of substantial poor population and a defining feature of economic equality is a less effective lower income workforce, higher disease and mortality rates, higher healthcare costs, and progressively deepening poverty for afflicted groups. One proposed causal connection between education and inequality is unequal societies tend to underinvest in education. Absent private or public scholarship programs, the poor are unable to afford to pay for education or spend the time in school that could otherwise be spent working.
The significant consequences of the rich-poor divide are hugely diverse. This relates to the quote, "The rich gets richer while the poor gets poorer." Some economists conclude inequality is beneficial overall for stimulating growth, improves the quality of life for all members of a society, or is merely a necessary part of social progress. Other economists claim wealth concentrations create perpetually oppressed minorities, exploit disadvantaged populations, hinder economic growth, and lead to numerous social problems.
Some disadvantages include a high level of economic inequality means a higher level of poverty. Unequal income distribution increases political instability, which threatens property rights, increases the risk of state-repudiated contracts, and discourages capital accumulation. A widening rich-poor gap tends to increase the rate of rent-seeking and predatory market behaviors that hinder economic growth. Most researchers point to evidence economically unequal societies have higher crime rates. Disadvantaged members of society may be more likely to suffer from resentment and hostility as a result of their economic position or competition over scarce jobs or resources, resulting in a higher propensity for criminal behavior. Inequality increases the incentive to commit crimes. Fewer methods of lawfully obtaining resources are available for the increasing number of poor who live in an unequal society. A wide gap between rich and poor tends to increase crime by reducing law enforcement spending in low-income areas. Homicide rates are higher in unequal societies. The basic thesis is that social ills like crime and teen pregnancy have a strong correlation with income inequality. Income inequality may diminish education opportunities for the poor if they cannot afford the tuition fees. This may keep the level of human capital and the level of specialization lower than what would be optimal for economic growth. Income inequality is also found to affect negatively on health, diminishing productivity and growth. Mental illness is more common in unequal societies, and social mobility is lower in unequal countries.
A local organization out of Chicago is the Racial Wealth Divide Initiative. Chicago is often recognized as one of the most segregated cities. Along with this issue comes segregation in wealth. This organization aims to build the capacity of organizations of color working in economically marginalized communities to support wealth-building efforts. Some more nonprofit organizations of Chicago include Chinese Mutual Aid Association, Gads Hill Center, and many more.
Overall, the racial wealth gap is an important topic to discuss because it has been an issue in American history since the beginning of this country. It needs to be discussed in order for there to be a change.